I thought I had seen some heartbreaking rescue cases before, but nothing prepared me for the moment I looked under that old car and saw a tiny orange and white kitten staring back at me. At first, I couldn't even tell if he was alive. His body was curled tightly against the cold ground. His fur was dirty and matted, and one of his ears looked badly damaged. The closer I got, the worse it became. Part of his ear had already started to necrotize. One of his legs was swollen and bent unnaturally, and there were clear signs of infection spreading through the injured tissue. He wasn't hiding because he wanted to. He was hiding because he had nowhere else to go. A local resident had contacted me earlier that day after noticing a kitten living beneath several parked vehicles. According to them, he had been there for days. Nobody knew where he came from. Nobody knew how he had been injured. Some people left food nearby occasionally, but nobody could get close enough to help him. When I arrived, I expected to find a frightened stray. Instead, I found a kitten fighting for his life. I slowly crouched beside the car and called softly to him. His eyes followed every movement I made. There was fear in those eyes, but there was something else too. Exhaustion. The kind of exhaustion that comes from being hungry, injured, and alone for far too long. I reached into my bag and poured a small handful of kitten food onto the ground, a short distance away. The reaction was immediate. The little kitten hesitated for only a moment before dragging himself forward. That's when I noticed just how serious the injury to his leg really was. He wasn't walking normally. He was struggling. Every step looked painful. Yet, despite the pain, he kept moving toward the food. The moment he reached it, he began eating as though he hadn't seen food in days. He didn't stop. He didn't look up. He didn't even seem to notice me anymore. Watching him eat broke my heart. No animal should ever be that hungry. At that moment, I made my decision. There was no way I was leaving him there. I carefully approached while he was distracted by the food and gently wrapped him in a blanket. Surprisingly, he didn't resist very much. It was almost as if he understood that someone was finally trying to help him. His body was weak. His breathing was shallow. Every sign told me that he desperately needed medical attention. I placed him in a carrier and drove directly to the veterinary clinic. The veterinary team immediately began their examination. The diagnosis confirmed exactly what I feared. His ear had suffered severe tissue damage and infection. His injured leg had been fractured for quite some time and showed early signs of necrosis due to poor circulation and untreated wounds. If he had remained outside much longer, the outcome could have been very different. The veterinarians cleaned every wound carefully. They trimmed away damaged tissue, disinfected the infected areas, and applied fresh bandages. He received antibiotics, anti-inflammatory medication, pain relief, and fluids to stabilize his condition. Throughout the entire procedure, he remained remarkably calm. Perhaps he was simply too tired to fight. Or perhaps for the first time in a long time, he felt safe. When the treatment was complete, I looked down at the tiny kitten resting quietly in his carrier. I decided to call him Oliver. The first few days at home were challenging. Oliver spent most of his time sleeping. His body was finally allowing itself to rest after surviving who knows how many days or weeks outside. I prepared a quiet recovery space with soft blankets, fresh water and food nearby. Every morning began with medication, wound checks, cleaning procedures, and carefully monitoring his appetite. Fortunately, Oliver loved to eat. His appetite became one of the strongest signs that he wanted to survive. I fed him small meals throughout the day. Along with his food, I prepared warm kitten milk to help him regain strength. Slowly, his energy started returning. The dull expression in his eyes began disappearing. Instead of sleeping all day, he started becoming curious about his surroundings. He began watching me whenever I entered the room. Then he started greeting me. Soon he began following me. Every tiny improvement felt like a victory. At home, Oliver wasn't the only animal living there. I already cared for an older cat and a friendly dog who had both been rescued previously. At first, I introduced them carefully. Oliver was still vulnerable, and I didn't want him feeling overwhelmed. The older cat was curious. The dog was even more curious. For several days, they observed each other from a distance. Then, something wonderful happened. Oliver started approaching them on his own. The dog would lie beside him quietly while he rested. The older cat would sit nearby as though keeping watch. Day after day, the distance between them became smaller. Before long, they were sharing the same space comfortably. Eventually, they became friends. Watching them interact was one of the most rewarding parts of Oliver's recovery. The tiny kitten who had once hidden beneath a car now had companions. He had a family. Weeks passed. Every veterinary checkup brought encouraging news. The infection in his ear was under control. The damaged tissue was healing. The fracture in his leg was stabilizing. The swelling had reduced significantly. Most importantly, Oliver never stopped fighting. Animals possess an incredible ability to recover when given a chance. Even when their bodies are injured, their determination often surprises everyone around them. Oliver was the perfect example. Despite wearing bandages and dealing with pain, he remained playful. He chased toys. He explored every room. He wrestled gently with the older cat. He followed the dog around the house as though trying to learn everything about being a confident animal. Every day he seemed stronger than the day before. Months later, the moment we had been waiting for finally arrived. The veterinarian removed the final support from his injured leg. The fracture had healed. The bone had recovered successfully. For the first time since I met him, Oliver no longer needed protective wrapping. I remember placing him on the floor and watching him take those first confident steps. Then he started running. Not limping, not struggling, running. The same kitten who once dragged himself across the pavement beneath a car was now sprinting through the house at full speed. I don't think he'll ever forget that moment. His recovery wasn't just physical. His personality transformed too. The frightened kitten, who once viewed every human as a threat, became one of the most affectionate cats I had ever known. He loved being held. He loved being petted. Every evening he would curl up nearby and fall asleep peacefully. Sometimes I would look at him and remember the first day, the damaged ear, the broken leg, the infection, the hunger, the loneliness. And then I would look at the healthy, energetic cat in front of me and struggle to believe they were the same animal. Today, Oliver lives a completely different life. He spends his days playing with his dog companion, chasing the older cat through the house, enjoying warm meals and receiving all the love he could ever need. The injuries that once threatened his future are now only distant memories. His ear healed, his leg healed, his body healed. But perhaps the most important thing that healed was his trust. Oliver taught me something I will never forget. Recovery isn't always about medicine alone. Medicine repairs wounds. Food restores strength. But love, safety, and patience give an animal a reason to keep fighting. The little kitten under that car could have easily been ignored. People could have walked past without looking. They could have assumed someone else would help. Thankfully, someone noticed. Someone cared. And because of that single act of compassion, Oliver received a second chance at life. Today, whenever I see him sleeping comfortably beside his friends, I realize that every rescue begins with a simple decision. A decision to stop. A decision to care. A decision to help. For Oliver, that decision changed everything. And for me, watching him grow from a severely injured kitten into a happy, healthy cat has been one of the most beautiful journeys I have ever experienced.